My name is Jeff Coester.
Welcome home.
Thank you. Now, don't. I need to be able to talk, remember? I'm seminal fellow with remember that, so we've got a lot to do today. So I have a friend here who has consistently been looking out for me while I've been gone, and that is our mayor, Skip Lee. So I'm going to have him come and greet you and open us in prayer. Skip knows the Lord, loves him, and he's just been a faithful brother.
Good morning, everybody. All right, let's first get one thing out of the way. We're going to have a memory test. What does it mean when Pastor looks at his watch? Ooh, what a blessing. Well, it is a pleasure and an honor for me to be here this morning. You know, we all know the story of the prodigal son. And, you know, Jeff was talking now, he wasn't living in the high country spending his inheritance, but he moved away at great sacrifice to take care of his family. But I know the joy that the father felt in that prodigal son story, because Jeff's back, and we're so glad to have him. Pastor Jeff and I felt, you know, when I'm getting ready to respond on Facebook, or I'm getting ready to make some public comment, I do hear his voice in the back of my ear saying, "Filters, Jeff." So if you notice the filter's been off for a couple of years, now you know why. But I'd like to, on behalf of the city, myself, welcome you back. And actually, it's Mary who wants that. He kind of comes along as part of the family. So I'd like to, if you mind, please bow your head and let us in prayer. Eternal God, Heavenly Father, we are so blessed in a million ways here in our community and in our country. We have more than we can ever imagine in the way of blessings, even though we are not perfect. And we are so glad that you have returned Pastor Jeff to us. We all know what he means to us, what he has meant to the community, and we are immensely thankful and full of gratitude to you for bringing him and Mary back to our community. Please help us to serve you and spread the word of your Son Jesus to everybody so that they know the blessings that we all have. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
How many of you saw the Pepsi coat I just had on? You didn't see it?
I saw it. That's his favorite. We're just Pepsi.
I walked in and walked around with that on. Because I want to set a tone that we're going to have a good time, and we're going to be good natured, and we're going to love each other. And we're going to drink Pepsi, except those of you who are confused to drink that other stuff. Later on during the message, I'm going to ask you a question. And that is, why do you want me here? And I hope to give some thought to that during the message. And we'll see if your answers are the same as I think they should be. I want to encourage you to remember a few people in prayer. Of course, remember Donnie, who's in the hospital. Ken Zyloff is near the end of his quarantine period for COVID. There are Flight's twins going to be born Tuesday, 6 weeks early. Of course, they're very small, so pray for them. And then, of course, Aiden. And Antonio asked me to pray for his son and for someone else, and I didn't have a pen to write it down. So, Antonio, who are we praying for?
My name is Antonio Anaya. I want to please pray for my brother. He's in Mexico City in a rehabilitation program, learning about Jesus Christ. He's already in 4 months, but I want you to please pray for him to receive the Lord in your heart. Because there's difference when you go to the church and only listen and you don't receive the Lord in your heart. Also, I want you to please pray for his son. His son is in jail. He's a young boy, 20-something years. I tell him to go to meet in the gospel in jail because in 1996 I received the Lord in Mexico City in my heart, and he changed my life. I used to be a drug addict, alcoholic, in jail for a couple of years. But the Lord, I give the Lord one day a chance to come to my heart when he came to knock my door. I opened my heart and he changed my life. I want you to pray also for the people in this church who got a problem with anything. For the Lord make us strong to live a better life in Jesus Christ. God bless you.
I didn't know we had a little preacher. All right. Let's bow our heads together. Heavenly Father, thank you that we can be together. And we are surrounded by needs. All of them are sincere concerns, and we pray that you would help those who are under medical care to have the help they need or the comfort that they need. And for those who need to know you, I pray that you put people around them who can deliver the message of grace and love, and that people can be at peace with you and with each other. Thank you for the time we have that be well spent. In Jesus' name. Amen. I never have started a service like this before, and I probably never will again, but we live in difficult times, and what I see everywhere I go is people have tension, and it makes them sometimes act out of character. It makes them say things they might not say otherwise. And in the news, there was a fight in a fast food restaurant over dipping sauces. They had thousands of dollars worth of damage because the fast food restaurant wanted to charge them for dipping sauces. Well, this tension is breeding such hostility. The Christian community really has to take a firm stand against it. And we have to model grace and peace and kindness toward others. And so I want to say some things that I hope will contribute to that within this church family. And I want to start a little bit with our story. In December and January, Mary and I began to talk about coming back to Sterling because this had become our home. And the talk was that I would semi-retire and that I would be involved in doing pulpit supply and different things of that sort, and that just seemed good. We began to live at home. And in February, or I think it was February, I let the church council in Wanata know that we would probably get a retire in the fall. So Mark was aware of that discussion, Skip was aware of that discussion, and Ken Zyloff were all part of helping us bear our burdens. And in April, I got a call from the council asking if we would be willing to come back. And how long did it take us to decide, Mark?
Not long.
So we're here. I just want to talk about the transition of pastors. The transition of the pastor is a hard thing. It's especially difficult to follow a long-term pastor. If you know anything about church growth and things related to that, when someone's been in a church a long time, the next person who follows them usually has a very difficult time and a very short stay. That's just a fact. Sometimes it's different, but not very often. So, this is a unique situation for a pastor to come back like I have. I've never heard it happening before. So, I feel blessed. But I want to encourage you that we want to set a tone that is cordial and congenial and don't develop a culture of criticism. Comparisons are unhealthy. You know, for every pastor, their skill sets are unique, but they're really incomplete. Most people would say there's anywhere from 6 to 10 major areas where a pastor does their work. And in most cases, most pastors are good at 3 or 4 of them. And the rest of those things where they aren't strong, leave them open for criticism. The first pastor I served under in 1982 as a paid employee was quick to remind me that the ministry is always a training ground. Now, Pastor Law has left, and I want to share some things with you that I think are important for you to know about pastors. And I hope that I can help you personally, privately when necessary, but I publicly want to make these statements to help us move on, to not be so full of conversation about the past. I hope you remember these several things. One is that Pastor Law was chosen by the church after prayer and seeking God's will. You have to believe that him being here was God's will. Just like I believe us being here now is God's will. I don't speculate as to what God's thinking. I just don't know. We didn't want to go, but it was necessary. This is a difficult job. Most people like to joke, you know, that pastors work 1 hour a week. But the truth is, it's a difficult job. And I've had a big advantage. I was heavily involved on the inside of the church. As a 15-year-old, I was helping in children's church at 14, and even did some speaking at 12 and 13. But by 15, I was preaching regularly. I did my first successful marriage counseling at 15. I was involved in hospital visits, church planning, all sorts of things before I ever went to Bible college, and before I ever was mature enough to be really consistent in the way I conducted myself. I have always felt it must be difficult for those people who come to the ministry as a second career. There's such a learning curve. When I was 15 and preaching and spent lots of time with the pastors, I thought I really knew stuff. Thought I was really smart. And then I went to Bible college and found out they knew stuff I didn't know. And then I became an assistant pastor, and boy, was that eye-opening. So when I finally became a pastor, I thought, well, I really know what this is like, and you know what, that was very different too. I've done a lot of different things in my life. I've sold life insurance for 2 major companies. I worked in retail management and fast food management and fast food and been a successful salesman. I've done hard physical labor in the days when I could, and nothing has ever challenged me like this. I happen to love that, so that's why I'm here. When we were talking about retirement, I really didn't know what I was going to do, and I knew it wouldn't be right to hang around the house and just let Mary on. I didn't want her to go to jail after all these years. And I really didn't know what I was going to do, because in all these years I've never really developed a hobby. All that I focused on was our kids and our work. And so, anyway, you know, when I think about ministry, sometimes it's moved us far away from family, but never outside of driving distance. Christelle's family was in South Africa. To me, that must have been hard. It must not have been an easy choice, and it must not have been easy from day to day. While they were here, they made some good changes. Some of the changes are changes that might not have happened if I was here, because our gifts and our focus are different. I know that they ministered to some people. I know that they were a blessing to some. I heard there were some controversies over time. One of them was related to some things that were presented in a sermon about Halloween. How many of you are aware that the history he taught about the pagan roots of holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving, how many of you are aware that I taught the same history? Okay? I just package it differently. Okay? So, all that to say, we all package differently. The next pastor will be different from me. I hope we will value them. Also add to that they were newlyweds. Did any of you find it a little bit shocking when you got married to discover what married life really was like? Anybody? Sure. So I want to encourage you to remember this, that this isn't a job that you do for the money. This is a job you do because you have passion. This is a job you do because you believe God's called you to it. And I have mercy for anyone who struggles in this job. The fact that I love it, that I want to do it, doesn't mean I find it easy. It's just my passion. It's just what God put in me. So I would also encourage you to know that many churches want things packaged, like Pastor Rob did, related to those issues of holidays and their history and all those things. That kind of preaching would be expected in many places. You were accustomed to me, and I'm a lot different for a lot of reasons, but I hope that if you have affection for the lost, or any of your former pastors, I hope you'll remember that what they did was not easy, and that if they were not quite your cup of tea, they need mercy, and they need love. And I would ask you a couple of things. One is, don't fall into the trap of being gossipy and negative. Hey, how you doing? Sorry about that. Nice surprise, they're all over. I just haven't seen them. Don't fall into that trap. If our church becomes a culture of negativity and criticism, we will not prosper. You will not prosper. And Andy Stanley was so correct in Sunday school, saying if we don't have the right relationship with our brothers, we're not right with God. So, if forgiveness is necessary, forgive. If you have the ability to extend love, and you love them, that's great. I will never feel jealous if you love someone who's ministered to you. I am going to, after we get the house settled, which will take a while, I'm going to write them and thank them for the good things they accomplished here. And I would like to see many of them do that. So, the other thing to keep in mind is that leaving probably puts them in an unsettled situation. Some people are really harmed by leaving